Hey there, it's Glenn. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install fret markers in your fretboard. So this is to be done after you've cut fret slots into your fretboard, but before you install the actual frets. Now, if you haven't cut fret slots into your fretboard yet, feel free to check out the video that I've linked to here, and then come back to this and we'll install the fret markers. All right, let's do this. Here are the items that we'll be using in this project. Got a couple of clamps, a drill driver with a 1/4" or 6mm drill bit, a ruler, a pull saw that we got from CB Giddy Crafter Supply, a scratch awl, some wood glue, a couple pieces of scrap wood, a 1/4" or 6mm dowel that will match the 1/4" or 6mm drill bit, and a fretboard with the fret slots already cut into it. And this particular fretboard is built on a 25-inch scale. I almost forgot, we're going to need a file, couple pieces of sandpaper, a coarse grit, and a finer grit. In this case, I have 100 and 180. It'd be nice if you had 80, 220, whatever. But we had a coarse grit and a finer grit and a sanding block to wrap the sandpaper around in order to keep the sandpaper flat against the fretboard. Before we get too far into this project, let's just make certain that our drill bit matches the size of our dowel. So just go ahead and one of your pieces of scrap wood on top of another piece of scrap wood. Drill this straight down through your first piece. And just make certain that your dowel fits snugly or twists snugly into your piece of scrap wood. Whoa, look at that. Here we're going to want to find the center line of our fretboard. So knowing that it's 1.5 inches wide or 38mm, I'm going to want to find where the 3/4 inch mark is or the 19mm mark on a couple different spots down here, and just draw a very faint line all the way down the fretboard. Now that the lines have been drawn, I'm just going to mark that faint line. I don't want to make it press too heavy with the pencil because I don't want to sand off too much wood to get rid of that line. Now let's find the halfway point in between the necessary fret slots in order to mark for the fret markers. You're going to have to trust your eyes and your ruler, but what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make up the difference in between the fret slots and try to even it out with the distance so I can find the halfway point. And in this case, for this 3rd fret marker, I'm looking at about 5/8 of an inch or 16mm. For the 5th fret, I'm looking at about 9/16 of an inch or 14mm. For the 7th fret, I'm looking at about 1/2 inch or 12.5mm. For the 9th fret, I'm looking at 7/16 of an inch or 11mm. For the 12th fret, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh, that got tricky. I'm looking at about 3/8 of an inch or 9.5mm. Then the 13, 14, 15th fret, I'm looking at about 5/16 of an inch or 8mm. 17th fret, looking 9/32 of an inch or 7mm. The 19th fret, I got, even that out. Alright, 1/4 inch or 6mm. Whew, wasn't that fun. As you likely are aware, the 12th fret usually gets 2 fret markers, so I'm just going to put ours in about 3/8 of an inch from either side or either side of the fretboard, or 9.5mm, and I'll try to get my hands out of the way here. Alakazam. For each of those points, I'm going to use my scratch awl to do my best to poke a little hole there, dead center where we marked, to give ourselves a guide hole for the drill bit to go as straight through as possible. With your fretboard, clamp down over a piece of scrap wood, and your drill driver with your 1/4 inch or 6mm drill bit, try as best you can to hold this drill bit straight up and down as possible, because we want our hole to be as straight as possible. All right, let's see what we can do. Oh snap! Let's take a little bit of wood glue, dab it on the end of the dowel. Really doesn't have to be a whole lot, to be honest with you. Spread it around, maybe get a little bit of the excess off if you can. It's just less mess to clean up later. And what you can do is, sorry, from the top edge, poke your dowel through and run it to the back. Try to get it flush up to the back of the fretboard. And what I'm trying to do here is twist the dowel until I have the grains or the grain of the dowel running in the same fashion that I want it to, in this case with the grain of the fretboard. And I'd like to maintain that consistency all the way down throughout the fret markers. With a little dab of glue on the dowel and it's stuck through the fretboard in the direction that you want it running, take your pull saw and, being mindful of the sides of the teeth so that they don't scrape the top or scratch the top of your fretboard, try to get it as close to make the cut as close to the fretboard as you can without scuffing up the surface. You're going to have some dowel sticking up from the top of the fretboard, but we're going to file and sand that down at the end. Now what you have left is your fretboard slotted and your dowels installed as fret markers. Go ahead and take a file and carefully, or as carefully as you can, file down the dowels to as close as to the top of the fretboard as you can without scuffing up the fretboard. After that, we'll go through with a coarse grit sandpaper and then a fine grit sandpaper to really smooth things out. Using our block of wood to keep the sandpaper flat and using our coarse sandpaper, let's go ahead and start sanding this down until we can get it nice and smooth. Having used the coarse sandpaper, we've got the fretboard nice and flat, nice and smooth, but we're going to take the finer sandpaper and just kind of finish it up a bit. And there's our fretboard with the fret markers. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, if there's any questions or concerns or any suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments or contact me at glenn@glennwatt.com. That's GLENN at glennwatt.com. You can check out why I celebrate the cigar box guitar at glennwatt.com. And until the next time, I'll see ya.